theft of minerals.
From the steps we've taken, a lot has been achieved, and I will mention some. More so in Geita region, in 2016, small-scale miners sold gold, 337.482 kilograms. This was in 2016, worth 22.5 billion, whereby the government received 1.2 billion. But after we began to take steps last year, 2019, small-scale miners sold 4,656.29 kilograms. We will increase the area for small-scale miners, as well as continue to issue license to them, but also training and capital. In the past 5 years, we've taken various steps which include scrapping of 114 taxes that applied to farmers, livestock keepers and fishermen. We wanted to have modern slaughterhouses so that meat could be consumed even in Europe. We plan in the next 5 years to further develop the agriculture, livestock and fisheries sectors, which also includes building of warehouses and processing centers for Geita region.
And the presidential candidate from opposition Chadema Party, Tundu Lissu, has said he's completed the first round of zonal campaigns successfully and that tomorrow he will start the second round of campaigns in constituencies around the country. He made the statement when addressing the press at his home in Dar es Salaam.
Na tuna mahali pa kuanzia. Tume ya Warioba. Because tume ya Warioba ilisema
we have a starting point. The Warioba Commission. It states that the United Republic National Assembly, every constituency will have 2 candidates, a man and a woman. So Warioba had already prepared this. As I said, we have somewhere to begin from where they cannot say this is Tundu Lissu's agenda, because the Warioba Commission had spoken about many issues, which is good, of which we will work on. There are certain areas that need discussion, but what is important is we have a template of a future Tanzania and how it should be. He gave permission to the press to ask questions, and then he spoke about what he intends to do as a candidate, but he allowed reporters to ask questions, and it had reached a point where they had exhausted all questions. I think that he has quenched the thirst of those who had questions, and even those who were not satisfied initially had another chance to ask. So this is a special day he had allocated to speak to the press.
With the election process underway, some residents in Dar es Salaam have expressed their views on election manifestos presented by various candidates at election campaigns throughout the country.
Mwananchi ukimwambia bwana ilani ya Chadema CCM anakuambia ni nzuri, lakini je, ilani inaambia mwananchi kila mmoja mmoja?
Currently the economy is not too good. There is not enough job opportunities. So we look at an election manifesto which is convincing, that can help the youth of Tanzania. I wish that political parties' manifesto would focus more on the youth.
Ilani zilizotolewa na vyama hususan tunaelekeza macho kwenye vyama vitatu.
The election manifesto that we've seen, our focus is on 3 political parties: CCM Party, Chadema Party and ACT Wazalendo Party. In the individual manifesto, there is a way in which they have mentioned. Chadema Party has come up with a good election manifesto, one that will stand for rights, peace and development. They have focused more on education, whereby it is going to be free to university, health insurance which is affordable to every citizen.
Kwa tunaomba tena pale palipokuwa pamebaki aendeleze.
We're asking that he carries on from where he has left. If there is a lack of employment for the youth, he should look into that and enable them to find work. And as women, he should take care of us. As you can see, we are struggling. Life is hard, we have no foundation. And if there is provision of loans, then it will help us move forward. The election manifesto is promising, but I think it is only for one political party, and this is CCM party.
Lakini mimi naona kwa chama kimoja tu cha CCM.
The National Electoral Commission has continued to announce decisions on appeals lodged by parliamentary candidates, whereby today the election body has reinstated 13 candidates from Singida West, Madaba, Ilemela, Namtumbo, Bagamoyo, Liwale, Tunduma, Bukene and Kigamboni constituencies.
Kwa umma kuhusu zoezi la kupitia na kufanya uamuzi wa rufaa za wagombea ubunge. Tume ya Taifa ya Uchaguzi katika kikao chake cha
The National Electoral Commission, in a meeting held yesterday, September 8, 2020, has continued with the exercise to evaluate and make a decision on referrals for parliamentary seat candidates in various constituencies presented to us by candidates through electoral supervisors in the whole country. The referrals were made under Section 40, subsection 6 on the National Election Law, which permits candidates for the parliamentary seats to make a referral if dissatisfied with the decision made. In yesterday's meeting, the Commission went through 34 referrals, and the Commission has approved 13 of them by bringing back candidates from North Singida constituency, Madaba, Ilemela, Namtumbo, Bagamoyo, Liwale, Tunduma, Dukeni and Kigamboni.
13 za kuwarejesha wagombea katika orodha ya wagombea.
And all 17 presidential aspirants in Zanzibar have returned their nomination forms to the offices of the Electoral Commission, with 8 of them arriving at the same time a few minutes before the end of deadline. Among the candidates were from ADC, ACT Wazalendo and Chadema parties.
You've witnessed political parties which took out forms have returned them on time, but as you saw on last minute, not less than 8 parties came at once. So we had to allocate extra time, and because they came within the specified time, we had to serve them. We will come with different policies compared to other political parties, more so in coming into a digitalized economy whereby we will be able to create more jobs compared to how things currently stand. As you know, the government is a major employment, as the private sector has not fully entered. But for this to happen, first the environment has to be right. Must be justice, because without it there is no peace. The Commission should conduct itself in such a way that shows there is justice and that it treats all candidates the same without bias. Drugs.
Nawatendea wagombea wote sawa sawa, kila mgombea apate haki zake bila kufinywa, na vile vile vyombo vya dola nao vile vile vichukue wajibu wake, wasiwe na mgombea wao. Kwa hivyo kama kuna kuwa na haki.
The police force, through the anti-drugs unit, has arrested 6 people for drug trafficking. They include a woman, a food vendor in Temeke, Sandari, Dar es Salaam, who was found in possession of 51 kilograms of heroin, 67 pellets of narcotics and cash amounting to 58,020,000 shillings.
Kule Zanzibar wamekamatwa watu wawili.
In Zanzibar, 2 people were arrested, and at the moment we have Mokrim, Amin Hussein and Tatu Said. There are 6 in total. We were able to destroy the network once we had arrested the one in Zanzibar.
Tunaye Tatu Saidi wanne, jumla wako 6. Kwa sababu mtandao tumeufumua baada ya kukamata yule wa Zanzibar. Kwa hiyo tumekuja nao mpaka huku bara.
And the government in Mtwara has called on residents from villages along the border between Tanzania and Mozambique to adhere to legal procedures when entering the neighboring country in order to ensure their safety. The call was made by the Regional Commissioner of Mtwara, Gelasius Byakanwa, who said the security situation in Mozambique is worrying.
There are temporary permits as well as Tanzanian passport that identifies one as a Tanzanian citizen, but they must use official crossing points. And because things are currently unstable there, we don't see the reason why any Tanzania would want to run there. When things have stabilized, then we will advise them accordingly. This is good because it is a security concern, and what is most important here is security because it is the foundation for everything. There should not be bureaucracy as far as the permit is concerned. We are all Tanzanians, and once you show a national ID card or passport, then you should be able to go visit your relatives in the neighboring country. However, the instability is not good because it leads to loss of life and of property too, and this is happening to Tanzanians who are in the neighboring country doing business. So we are unhappy about the situation.
And that's all for the national news. International news is next. In international news, as the number of coronavirus cases in Kenya rises to 35,460 after 104 new cases were confirmed in the last 24 hours, healthcare services in the country are likely to deteriorate due to a strike by health personnel expected to start later tonight.
Clinical officers, Kenya National Union of Nurses, Kenya Health Professional Society, Kenya National Union of Medical Laboratory Officers, and the Kenya National Union of Pharmaceutical Technologists. In exercise of Article 41 of the Kenyan Constitution and 76 of the Labor Relations Act, we gave a 14-day strike notice on the following grievances. Number 1, stagnation. Number 2, redesignations. Number 3, right placement. And finally, on promotions. Despite the ample time given to our employer, we actually gave a 14-day strike notice. She has completely disregarded our genuine pleas. All patients seeking care in our health facilities should seek for an alternative with immediate effect. That all Nairobi County workers who work in the health sector will only resume their normal duties once our issues have been handled fully and the letters issued. We are taking this option of going for restriction with a very heavy heart. Reason being, we are at the center of COVID-19. Actually, COVID-19 is more in Nairobi County. But given that our employer does not want to understand any other language, we are forced to take this bitter decision.
And heavy rains have started in Uganda, with reports saying that some parts of the country are likely to experience mudslides. Residents in eastern and western parts of the country have started to move to safer areas in order to avoid effects of floods. The World Bank has agreed to give Burundi 600 million shillings in the next 3 years to support various development projects. This was said by the Deputy State Spokesperson Elaine Diomede Nzeyimana after talks between the representative of the World Bank and President Evariste Ndayishimiye of Burundi.
would like that in 5 years they're able to provide $600 million in aid that will help in some projects that are not being funded by the World Bank that the government wants to implement. Among the projects will include helping youth, and you are aware that statistics on youth who have graduated but have not found employment are being collected now.
Alexei Navalny, a Russian opposition leader who, according to German authorities, was poisoned with a weapons-grade Novichok nerve agent, is reportedly now out of a coma. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ashaze with our media partner Deutsche Welle joins us now with more updates on this. So, Emmanuel, what is the latest on his health condition?
Well, Alexei Navalny was woken up from the medically induced coma he has been in since his poisoning. He's been weaned off mechanical ventilation, and he does react to verbal stimuli, so those are pretty positive news. His condition does improve, but the doctors here at the Charité Hospital in Berlin also say that it is way too early to know whether or not the recovery will be full, and also whether or not there will be any long-term consequences of the poisoning on his health.
And what has the German government's reactions towards Russia been?
Well, first off, Russia said that Germany was bluffing with its allegations of poisoning and said that Germany wasn't sharing the evidence mentioned by the German Foreign Office and wasn't sharing the results of the tests on Alexei Navalny. And the German ambassador to Russia was summoned to attend talks. And on the German side, German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas had summoned the Russian ambassador in light of the evidence of Navalny's poisoning. So you see here a lot of tensions between Germany and Russia, with Germany demanding quite firmly answers from Russia, and with Chancellor Angela Merkel using a very strong vocabulary, very strong words to depict Navalny's poisoning. She said this was an attempted murder, and she said that this was a crime against the values of Germany.
So where does this leave the Nord Stream project? First, can you tell us a little bit about it, and then tell us what's the way forward with it?
Well, one of the bones of contention economically between Germany and Russia is the gas pipeline project Nord Stream 2, which would see Russian gas being brought to Germany through a pipeline in the Baltic Sea. In fact, many countries were against this project from the get-go, and recently US senators even threatened Germany with sanctions should the project go ahead. But Merkel's government had always pushed through with that project, and now that there are discussions on economic sanctions against Russia in light of Navalny's poisoning, well, even the Chancellor, even Angela Merkel, is said to be ready to reconsider the whole future of the Nord Stream project.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel, on that update. Until next time, stay safe. And that special report ends our international news. We'll be back with business news after this break. And now in business news. Tanzania Women Chamber of Commerce.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and now in business news. Tanzania Women Chamber of Commerce, TWCC, has launched an industrial sector award for women entrepreneurs aimed at recognizing women's contribution in business as well as to motivate more women to become entrepreneurs.
Wafanyabiashara ni wanawake. Kwa mantiki hiyo sasa tumeona ni vizuri tukatambua.
We saw that it was important to recognize the efforts of women and respect their contribution, growing development, this nation's economy. This award has three main aims: to recognize and respect the contributions made by successful and emerging business women, to create faith in entrepreneurship, motivate women of the coming generation, and this one to dare to engage in business. As Tanzania entered an industrial economy, we sought to find a way to collaborate with the government to commend these efforts that women show in building our country's economy.
The Procurement and Supplies Professionals and Technicians Board, PSPTB, has said there has been procurement challenges in some public projects, but that measures are being taken to address them.
If you have been directed and not done what was required, we usually take action, and even now there are about 89 people that we took to court, 20 heads of divisions that we advised their superiors and were removed from their positions due to failure or negligence in managing those under them in purchase activities, so we are more invested in training.
Kwa hiyo sisi tunachowekeza zaidi ni kwenye mafunzo.
That's all for business news. Sports is next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Skate trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Skate trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Marquinhos, he did lose to Lent.
In sports news, the Tanzania Athletics Association has confirmed that Lindi, Rukwa and Katavi are the only regions that will not participate in the national championship scheduled to take place this weekend in Dar es Salaam.
We have planned for teams to arrive in Dar es Salaam on September 11. They will report at the Dar es Salaam University of Education, DUSE. Then, on the same day, we will have the official seminar.
Jeshi Stars handball team is now focused on winning the Kimoma Memorial Cup starting on September 16th in Dar es Salaam, prior the club championships which will take place this November.
We are proceeding well with preparations. What we are left with is techniques and tactics, but heading to the competition, everything else is ready. Another upcoming competition in September is the East and Central African Club Championships, which will take place in Nairobi.
The double Olympic 800-meter champion Caster Semenya appears to have lost her long-running legal battle against regulations requiring women with high testosterone to take medication to compete internationally between 400 meters and a mile. Here is more on this.
A Swiss federal tribunal said on Tuesday that its support development, DSD, was necessary, reasonable and proportionate to ensure fair competition in women's sport. It now looks impossible for Semenya, the London 2012 and Rio 2016 gold medalist, to defend her title in Tokyo. She responded to the news by accusing world athletics of being on the wrong side of history.
Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat are headed to the Eastern Conference Finals after finishing off an upset of the NBA's best regular season team, topping the Milwaukee Bucks 103-94 in Game 5 of the East semi-final series, while Antetokounmpo, the league's reigning MVP, couldn't play because of a sprained right ankle.
And Goran Dragic each scored 17 points for the Heat, who won the series 4-1 and will face either Boston or Toronto when the NBA's Final Four gets underway next week. It's Miami's first time in the East Finals since 2014 and the first time Butler has gotten to the NBA's Final Four. Jay Crowder scored 16, Tyler Herro scored 14, Bam Adebayo had 13 and Kelly Olynyk had 12 apiece for the Heat.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. My name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
Jua kuwa 2020 ni mwaka wa uchaguzi? Basi ITV inatoa fursa kwa wagombea wote wa nafasi zote kujinadi na kueleza sera na mikakati yao kwenye kipindi cha Nagombea 2020. Changamkia fursa hii itakayokuwezesha kuwafikia walengo kwa bei nafuu.
Wasiliana nasi kupitia simu nambari 0767777147 au 0658777147 au 0684302014 au 22277591 mpaka 6 au advertise at itv.co.tz.
Ngoja utakuta mwana si wako.
Vigezo na masharti kuzingatiwa.